A new report by the Red Cross has warned that the number of people needing humanitarian aid every year due to climate-related disasters could double by 2050, and the cost of such help could reach $20 billion a year by the end of the next decade. Sarah Walton reports from New York.
From floods in India and Pakistan to droughts in Mongolia, it's estimated every year 108 million people need aid in the wake of climate-related disasters. Now the world's largest humanitarian network is warning that could nearly double to 200 million people by 2050, and aid agencies are already seeing that change.
When I met the volunteers from the Pacific Islands or from the Caribbean, I was really moved by their own story and the story that they are living. The sea level is rising, and the weather is completely changing, and unfortunately, if we don't act, many of them will be forced to leave their own land, their own country.
At a press conference in New York, the IFRC said the amount of money needed to help victims of climate change could also increase from $12 to $20 billion a year by 2030. They call that the cost of doing nothing. The report comes ahead of the gathering of world leaders for the 74th session of the UN General Assembly, which the Secretary-General Antonio Guterres says will spotlight the effects of global warming.
On Monday, I will convene the Climate Action Summit. I went to the Bahamas a few days ago. The level of devastation was unlike anything I've ever seen. Hurricane Dorian was indeed hurricane hell. And unfortunately, extreme weather events will only produce more hellscapes for more people. That is what science has been telling us all along.
He describes next week's summit as an opportunity to come up with concrete solutions to climate change. But the IFRC says some global warming is now unavoidable, and it's important to better prepare at-risk communities for extreme weather events.
The reason we focused on adaptation in this report is because we also know that there's a certain amount of risk which is locked into the future. So in addition to the action to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, which is very important, we need to also raise the ambition on adapting to the risk that we already are locked into. So striking a balance sort of between the focus on greenhouse gas emissions and the adaptation measures.
Studies have shown that the top 9 countries facing the highest risk of climate hazards are in Asia. And this report highlights work being done in the region to better prepare for such events, including a project to combat coastal erosion in parts of Java in Indonesia, which has reduced the risk of tidal flooding. And the IFRC believes it's not too late to avoid the worst-case scenario, saying there's a chance to cut the number of people needing help following climate-related disasters by 90%, but only if world leaders heed their warning and take action now. Sarah Walton, CNA, New York.